at this hour. A boy has thrown acid on a 17-year-old schoolgirl in Delhi's Dwarka district area. Now, the bike-borne attackers are believed to have carried out the attack at around 7:30 a.m. when the girl was on the way to her school with her younger sister. Now, cops were alerted around 9 a.m. about the acid attack in the area of PS Mohan Garden. Now, the girl has been referred to Safdarjung Hospital and has even raised suspicion about two people. Now, one person has been detained and further investigation is going on. Meanwhile, Delhi Commission for Women Chairperson Swati Maliwal has tweeted about the attack and demanded a ban on retail sale of acid. Now, also joining me on the broadcast is our guest, Shamina Shafiq, ex-member of the NCW. Ma'am, thank you for taking the time out and talking to us on Mirror Now. This is yet another unfortunate incident that has transpired. Of course, now we understand that the DCW as well as the NCW has taken cognizance of this matter. And also Swati Maliwal did react by saying that she would ensure whatever the victim needs and her family as well, they're going to be extending support. But first things first, this raises questions about the fact that what about the sale of acid in this country? Why is there not a complete ban?
Well, that is in fact, a very pertinent question which the government needs to answer, because as far as I remember, there was a complete ban on the sale of acid, after some incidences came into light, especially that of Lakshmi. And after that, at the National Commission for Women, I was a member then, the complete exercise which actually recommended the government to put a ban on the sale of acid. And this was actually notified, if I'm not wrong. And what happened to that notification, that is a bigger question to be answered. But, despite of all the laws of ban on, we know whatever is actually because of the jugaad system of India, generally, is available to the people who actually want to create a menace out of it. But being something readily available in the market, to and people like these two boys who have thrown acid, actually they have sick mentality. If you are not able to get attention from a girl or a woman, and you throw acid and you just try to distort her face or body, this is an extreme form of violence, because we must remember, a person when is killed or dead actually is free, I'm sorry to say this, free from the entire trauma that probably a body can face while someone is alive and facing this kind of attack. Because acid attack not just burns the skin of the person, it also affects her mind. The entire family gets absolutely shocked, and the kind of trauma, the physical trauma, the emotional trauma, and most importantly the financial constraints that the family then has to sort of give proper medical attention to the girl is something very, very important to look into. And we must not forget that initial hours are very crucial when any such attack is inflicted upon any woman or any girl or any person for that matter medically, because that is the time when the right kind of medical attention can actually save some very important organs of the person. We must not forget that throwing acid not just hurts the skin or burns the skin or distorts the skin, it is also the eyes which are affected, the nose, the ear, the mouth, the lips. It gets so gory. I can't even imagine what trauma this little girl must be going through right now, because it's physically tormenting. And if the government actually, as I've been saying it repeatedly on every incident, that the knee-jerk reaction of government after any such violence which is inflicted upon a woman is something which we don't want in this country. We want regular audits of the existing mechanism which are already in place, whether they are working or not, whether they are being implemented or not. And this is definitely the fault of the state as much as the fault of the persons who have actually thrown the acid. I must say this. And so Delhi Commission for Women now jumping into action and asking and giving help is something good. But what is the Delhi Commission for Women or National Commission for Women doing as far as social audits of these things are concerned? It is the duty and responsibility. Why the Delhi Commission is not actually looking into whether acids are free on sale or not? This should have been done much before. Why? That is something which even the commission.
All right, so we'll try connecting with Shamina Shafiq in a couple of minutes when that line gets better. But basically what Shamina was also trying to point out is, yes, it's a horrific incident. On the other hand, why has the DCW, of course, reacted now, but why haven't social audits being taken up earlier? And why is it that it's a matter of time when such incidents do come across is when action is taken? Now, I believe we have Shamina Shafiq joining us back on the broadcast. Ma'am, just to talk about the fact that you said it's not just physically that a victim has to endure that pain, it's also the mental trauma that one has to go through. In fact, the victim's father also reacted earlier saying that the acid was also thrown in her eyes, which obviously means that her condition is very critical. Now, at this point of time, he also happened to say that she did not point out that she was being harassed. But what is important to also note is that it's not easy for women, young girls, to talk about when, in any of these circumstances, if they're being eve teased, or even with the fact that, if someone is being harassed as well. Could you talk to us about that? The fact that the father is now saying that probably if the girl would have, reported about this harassment, they would have reported it. But there is some sort of shame at times as well, that as a society, what can we do better to ensure the safety and security of women in any which way?
See, there is shame, there is also fear. Must not forget that. I mean, yes, with the onset of availability of internet so frequent, so easily, or with now the girls actually going out more frequently, whether it is work, whether it is education, whether it is just for themselves, for their recreation or whatsoever, and they are exposed to a lot of situations wherein, their opposite gender at this age definitely sometimes get attracted, sometimes they also get attracted, they get into a relation, sometimes they deny relationships. But to go back home and talk about it, to go back to your family and talk about it is something which is not just a matter of shame, but it is more of a matter of fear. Because girls are afraid that if they are going to be talking about it, probably the family is going to tell them to stop going out, or stop studying, or stop working, or they're going to be victim blaming that, oh, you are responsible for it because you are going out at this time, or you may have given some kind of free thing to or some kind of space to that person, that is why probably he's trying to approach you. So these are the conversations that now have to be generalized in families, in schools, in colleges, in societies, that it is okay that if you are being friendly with someone, but it's also okay if someone is trying to harass you, someone is trying to actually dominate you in any form of way, you should go and come back or go back to your family and talk about it. I think these drawing room conversations should happen more frequently within the families. The parents have to be more vocal, more friendly with their children, and the girls also will have to somehow realize, and I think schools can play a very important role in this, wherein they are told that this kind of an action or this kind of a behavior from an opposite gender is something which you should actually be careful about, because sometimes the girls are not even careful. They actually aggravate to such situations where you see that a girl
all right, we seem to have lost that connection with Shamina Shafiq, but the ex-member of NCW, talking about how it is important to create that safe space for women as well in terms of family conversations or education systems. But talking about this particular story, we have DCP Harshvardhan, who's reacted on the Delhi acid attack. Let's listen in to what he had to say about where the investigation stands.
आज सुबह 9 बजे द्वारका जिले के मोहन गार्डन थाने में एक इन्फॉर्मेशन रिसीव हुआ कि एक 17 वर्ष की लड़की पे 2 बाइक सवार लड़कों ने एसिड लाइक सब्सटेंस से अटैक किया है। ये घटना सुबह 7:30 बजे के आसपास का पाया गया, जब ये लड़की अपनी बहन के साथ जा रही थी। वो लड़की अभी अंडर ट्रीटमेंट है और 8% बर्न्स है, हॉस्पिटल में एडमिट है। हर कंडीशन इज स्टेटेड टू बी स्टेबल। एक लड़के को डिटेन किया गया है और फर्दर पूछताछ अभी किया जा रहा है, और एक अन्य लड़का इसमें मेन सस्पेक्ट के तौर पर उभर कर आया है, जिसके लिए भी हमारी टीम लगी हुई है। मल्टीपल टीम्स फॉर्म कर दिए गए हैं और जितने भी लीड्स हैं सब पे कार्रवाई चल रहा है।